We've seen some improvement in the job market lately, but there's something stubborn about unemployment. Never in the last 60 years has the length of joblessness been this long. 4 million people, a full third of the unemployed, have been out of work more than a year. They've been severed from the workforce. Ben Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve, calls it a national crisis. To understand what's happening, we went to Stamford, Connecticut to see an experiment that must offer a way back for Americans trapped in unemployment.
They started to go through round after round of layoffs, and I got caught in one of the layoffs there.
The Great Recession arrived early for Frank O'Neill.
It was a cold day in February.
It was February 2008. O'Neill was a credit consultant for an IT company. What happened?
They called me into the vice president's office, and he basically told me that they were having some financial difficulty and told me that my last day was going to be that day. And I got a small little severance out of it and was off into the world of the unemployed.
What have the last 3 years been like for you?
You have those moments, you know, where you're the only one in the house and you're sitting in front of the computer looking for a job and you go, when's this ever going to break for me?
How many people signed up for unemployment? Everybody.
Sure.
No one we met in Stamford expected to be out of work this long. How many have run to the end of the unemployment benefits? Everyone. Those unemployment benefits end after 99 weeks. These folks have been out of work 2 years, 3, even 4. They're college-educated professionals in their 40s or 50s, people who thought their company would take them all the way to retirement. Vernon?
I was very angry. I was very bitter. I was fed up with society, the corporate world, the lies, deceit, the greed.
They don't look it, but they have fallen out of the middle class, turned in cars, gone on food stamps, taken kids out of college, and faced foreclosure. Now, they've pinned their last hopes on Joe Carbone.
The word carnage is a strong word, but I can't think of a better word in this case. And what aggravates me is that there isn't outrage. We ought to be angry. We ought to be giving every moment of our time figuring out how we're going to restore for them the American dream.
Joe Carbone is president of something called the WorkPlace. It's the state unemployment office in southwest Connecticut where people get job training and placement help. Carbone has a reputation for innovative job programs, but he has never seen so many people out of work so long.
There is no comparison to being unemployed for 6 months and being unemployed for 99 weeks. Your needs change in a drastic way.
And what is the change?
The change is the mind. That 2 years of unemployment erodes your self-confidence, your self-esteem. It separates you from your profession, your education, whatever you might have done previously. There's all sorts of things. It causes divorces. It causes problems with children.
What's insidious is how hidden these people are. Carbone's territory has some of the richest towns in the nation. The commuter lines are arteries to the heart of corporate power in New York. But a lot of people walking around in suits haven't had a job in years.
My job is to get people into a career.
Carbone has more than 12,000 who have spent their last unemployment check with nowhere to go.
I can't tell you how this bothers me. I can't tell you what this has done to me. It's not just the numbers, Scott, it's the stories that you've heard.
Inside, you feel like a part of you has been ripped out from losing a job?
This is how Joe Carbone intends to restore their American dream. He calls it Platform to Employment. It's a $500,000 program that he raised the money for from businesses and charities. We went along for 5 weeks as a class of 28 learned how to claw their way back to employment.
I was ashamed to reach out for help because I felt discouraged. I felt ashamed that I had failed.
Vernon Downs was a project manager for a company that made medical devices. He's been working to find a job for 2.5 years.
I've done everything that I was told to do, the education, the certification, and I still couldn't get a job.
He's on food stamps, found work with a landscape company, and was glad to get it.
So then I said, okay, if I have to do leaf blowing to get some sort of an income, I'm willing to do that, and that's what I'm doing, and that's how I get by day to day.
Did any of you wonder whether you were the only one?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was a very isolating experience for me.
Diane Graham was an executive assistant. For 3 years, she's been scraping together part-time work. But she's on food stamps, and she had to move in with her sister.
I was possibly looking at homelessness, so I was terrified.
Our goal, objective of Platform to Employment, P2E, is to reconnect you to the workforce.
They're in class 4 days a week, and the very first thing they learned was to confront their fears and depression.
For me, it's been just debilitating fear that I won't be able to take care of myself.
The resume. The resume very soon will become an obsolete tool in the job search process.
They were introduced to how much has changed since the last time they got a job.
When they're considering hiring you for a job, they're going to go to the internet and see what comes up. If you have nothing that shows up, you're not relevant.
Frank O'Neill.
They practice job interviews.
Noticing a gap, Frank. It's looking really good up until about 2008. So could you give me a little explanation about what happened there?
And they learn to navigate the new bias, the unspoken reason, and turn down again and again. Did you ever have the sense that you and others were being discriminated against because of how long you'd been unemployed?
There's no doubt. I mean, I've seen it in print, whether it's some newspaper ads or online during those types of advertisements. I've actually seen, if you are unemployed, you need not apply.
Just look at the web. You see the phrase everywhere, must be currently employed. Businesses can't legally discriminate by age, race, or sex, but there's a new minority group now, the long-term unemployed. Everybody knows we're in a terrible state in this country. Why would a stigma attach to being unemployed for a year or 2 or 3?
I mean, there's a sense that if a person's out of work for a year or longer, they might be lazy. They might very well be people that would prefer to be home, or they've lost too much already to be useful to me. It's unfair, and it's wrong.
You can use the search bar on Facebook.
Platform to Employment was a little like boot camp.
There's hundreds of social media sites, but LinkedIn, it's the #1 for anything professional.
Managing director.
Yes.
IBM.
And over time, we saw something new, confidence.
What the program has done for me, it brought Vernon back. I know who I am. I know this is the Vernon that I know. That other person for the past post-2009, I didn't know who that was. So I'm back. I'm back in the game.
I was so prideful and so stubborn that I would not apply for part-time positions. I wasn't going to go work at the grocery store nearby. I wasn't going to go flip burgers. I have a college education. I've been successful at work. I've been working for 30 years. I'm not doing this. So when this opportunity for Platform to Employment came along, I joined it, and it changed my mindset.
After the classes are over, Platform to Employment opens the door on its biggest innovation. It's an internship with a business that's looking to hire. Tell me what that first day was like, walking through the door.
It was nice to be a part of the workforce, having to go to work in the morning, rather than get up in the morning and go look for work.
Here, the office intern isn't a college student. He's 50-something, educated and experienced. For 8 weeks, Frank O'Neill would work at Kane Management, which owns fast food restaurants. Platform to Employment pays O'Neill's salary. What do you have to prove, and how do you think that's going to work out?
They told me right off the bat, we have a job, and it's got to get done, and you need to prove yourself that you're the person who can get this job done for us.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. All we're looking for is an opportunity.
100 people are enrolled in Platform to Employment, and after 5 months, 53 have jobs. Vernon Downs found work in his field, information technology, at a company called Career Resources. Diane Graham got a call. After 3 years of hearing no, She didn't know how to respond to yes.
Manager called me. You know, he gave me the brief details. We'd like to have you on board. Like to start Monday. And I really froze on the phone. And I think he sensed it because he said to me, you know, take a few minutes to think about it and call me back. And when I hung up the phone, I'm like, are you crazy? What do I have to think about? I was just really, really in shock. I wasn't expecting it at all.
It's good to see you.
She's working at Lex Products, which makes power systems for industry.
Being in the hustle bustle of everybody going to work, I missed that. I truly missed it.
It's not just about a paycheck.
No. You know, where in the past it might have been, but this has become about my dignity.
And at the end of his internship, Frank O'Neill heard from the boss. You just got a new job.
Yes, I did. Brings a smile to my face.
I see that. Where do you see yourself 3 months from now? Employed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes? Oh, everybody.
Yes.
On graduation day, there was quite a change in the people that we first met that first day in class.
Burning down.
Joe Carbone hopes his experiment might be a model for the other 4 million and counting, whose lives have been broken by the Great Recession. I wonder if you have a message to all of those people, the 38,000 people a week who join this group who've run out of their unemployment checks and still have no prospects.
Can't promise people jobs, but I can promise that we've taken a big step, and the steps will continue. I want them to know that help is on the way. We're not going to stop until the issue is addressed in a fair and honorable, honest, and American way.